Renowned lawyer Ricardo Almeida was at the peak of his career. Known for never losing a case, he was respected for his integrity and strategic skills in the courtroom. Married to investigative journalist Mariana, they formed a powerful and influential couple in São Paulo. Ricardo had been hired to defend influential businessman Arthur Vasconcelos, accused of embezzling millions of reais from public funds intended for social projects. The case was in the media spotlight, and the pressure for an acquittal was enormous, especially from the upper echelons who had aligned interests with Arthur. While preparing the case, Ricardo decided to review old files related to Arthur, hoping to find something that could strengthen his defense. Amid dusty boxes in the basement of his office, he found a sealed, unmarked box. Upon opening it, he discovered a letter dated 1985, written by Eduardo Vasconcelos, Arthur's deceased father and the founder of the family empire. The letter contained a shocking confession. Eduardo admitted to committing a serious crime in the past, manipulating evidence to incriminate a competitor and take over his company. Even more alarming was the mention that Arthur had been involved in these illegal activities from a young age and had continued the family business through corrupt methods. Ricardo was stunned by the revelation. That letter could not only destroy Arthur's reputation, but also expose a network of corruption involving high-ranking political and business figures. Ricardo, Mariana, I need to tell you something serious. I found a letter today that could change everything about Arthur's case. Mariana, what does the letter say? You seem disturbed. Ricardo, it's a confession from his father, Eduardo. He admits to serious crimes and implicates Arthur in corrupt activities from a young age. Mariana, my God, this is huge. Do you understand what this means? It could bring down not just Arthur, but many others involved. Ricardo, I know. But if I use this letter, I'll be violating my client's trust and risking my career. Not to mention the potential personal repercussions. Mariana, and if you stay silent, you'll be allowing injustice to continue. Think of the people harmed by these acts. Maybe this is the opportunity to expose the truth. Ricardo, but at what cost? Our safety, our careers. I don't know if I'm ready to face that. Mariana, the truth always comes at a price, Ricardo. But maybe it's a price worth paying. The next day, Ricardo couldn't concentrate. The letter burned in his briefcase, a constant reminder of his moral responsibility. He decided to seek advice from his mentor and former law professor, Dr. Paulo Siqueira. Ricardo, Professor, I'm in a deep dilemma and need your guidance. Dr. Paulo, tell me, my boy, what troubles you? Ricardo, I found a letter that incriminates my client in serious crimes. If I present it, I could destroy not only his life but also my career. If I hide it, I'll be complicit in injustices. Dr. Paulo, I understand the gravity of the situation. But remember, our duty as lawyers is to serve justice, not just our clients. Ricardo, but what about attorney-client privilege? Wouldn't I be violating that trust? Dr. Paulo, the letter wasn't obtained through client confidentiality, correct? Ricardo, no, I found it in old office files. Dr. Paulo, then you have a moral and ethical obligation to consider the greater impact. Sometimes justice demands personal sacrifice. Ricardo, but I fear the consequences. Arthur is a powerful man with dangerous connections. Dr. Paulo, courage is required in these moments. If you believe in justice, you must be willing to fight for it, regardless of the risks. As Ricardo pondered his options, Arthur called for an emergency meeting at the office. The businessman was visibly worried, indicating that he might know about Ricardo's discovery. Arthur, Ricardo, I've heard rumors that you've been digging through old files. Did you find anything interesting? Ricardo, I'm just doing my job, Arthur. Reviewing all documents that might be relevant to the case. Arthur, with a threatening look, I hope you remember who's paying you and what's at stake here. Some things from the past should stay buried. Ricardo, my commitment is to your defense, but also to the law and justice. Arthur, slamming his hand on the table, don't give me that moralistic speech. You were hired to get me out of this mess, not to dig up more problems. Ricardo, If there's something I should know, it's better you tell me now. Arthur, moving closer. Be careful where you tread, Ricardo. People who stick their noses where they don't belong tend to get hurt. After the tense meeting, Ricardo realized he was dealing with someone willing to do anything to protect his interests. He decided to involve Mariana more deeply in the situation, knowing her experience as an investigative journalist. Mariana began using her connections in the media and the journalistic underworld to investigate the past of Arthur and his father. She discovered that several suspicious deaths and disappearances were linked to the Vasconcelos family over the decades. Mariana, Ricardo, this is worse than we imagined. I found evidence that Arthur's father was involved in murders to eliminate competitors, and Arthur continued the legacy. Ricardo, this is horrible. How many lives have been destroyed by greed? Mariana, many. And there's more. It seems that some politicians and high-ranking police officers were bribed to cover up these crimes. Ricardo, this means we're dealing with an entire criminal organization, not just a corrupt man. Mariana, exactly. And I'm afraid of what they might do if they find out we're investigating. Ricardo, we need to be careful, but we can't give up now. The victims deserve justice. Mariana, I agree. I have a source who can give us more information, but it's risky. We need to be prepared for anything. Days later, as he left the office late at night, Ricardo noticed he was being followed by a black car with no plates. He quickened his pace, trying to shake off the pursuer, but was cornered in an alley. Two masked men got out of the car and approached him aggressively. Assailant 1, Mr. Almeida, we advise you to stop digging where you shouldn't. Ricardo, who are you? What do you want? Assailant 2, we're here to deliver a message. Do your job and forget about Mr. Vasconcelos' past, or things could get ugly. Ricardo, are you threatening me? This won't stop me from doing what's right. Assailant 1, punching Ricardo in the stomach. Consider this a gentle warning. Next time, we won't be so polite. The attackers left, leaving Ricardo bruised and alarmed. He realized that his life and Mariana's were in real danger. He decided it was time to involve the authorities he trusted. Ricardo sought out his childhood friend, Chief Inspector Carlos Mendonça, known for his integrity and fight against corruption. Together, they discussed the situation and the evidence gathered. Ricardo, Carlos, I need your help. I have evidence that incriminates Arthur and a corruption network, but I'm being threatened. Carlos, this is serious, Ricardo. Do you have proof to back these claims? Ricardo, I have Eduardo's letter and other documents that Mariana obtained from her sources. Carlos, we need to act quickly and discreetly. If this network is as extensive as it seems, there are people within the police involved. Ricardo, that's exactly why I trust only you. Can we organize an operation to protect the witnesses and gather more evidence? Carlos, I'll assemble a small, trusted team. But you and Mariana need immediate protection. I'll put you under police surveillance. Ricardo, thank you, Carlos. I knew I could count on you. Carlos, we're in this together. Justice will prevail. Meanwhile, Mariana arranged a meeting with her anonymous source, who promised crucial information. The meeting was set at an isolated cafe on the outskirts of the city. Upon arrival, Mariana was surprised to recognize the source. It was Pedro, Ricardo's partner and best friend at the law firm. Mariana, Pedro, you're my source. I didn't expect this. Pedro, yes, Mariana. I needed to talk to you without Ricardo knowing. Mariana, why? What's going on? Pedro, I'm involved in this more than you can imagine. I worked with Arthur on some shady deals in the past, but I didn't know how deep it went. Now I regret it and want to help bring him down. Mariana, this is serious, Pedro. Do you have evidence to help bring down this organization? Pedro, I have documents, recordings, everything. But I need protection, or I'll be dead before dawn. Mariana, if you cooperate, we can get you protection with Chief Mendonça. But you have to trust us. Pedro, I trust you. I have no other choice. I just want this to end. Mariana, we'll do this the right way. Thank you for trusting me, Pedro. With the new evidence provided by Pedro, Ricardo, and Chief Mendonça obtained a warrant for the arrest of Arthur and his accomplices. The operation was carried out surgically, resulting in the arrest of several important figures involved in the corruption network. Arthur Vasconcelos was sentenced to a long prison term, and the family empire crumbled. Ricardo and Mariana, despite the risks they faced, emerged stronger and more determined to continue fighting for justice. However, months later, while Ricardo was at the office reviewing new cases, he received an envelope with no return address. When he opened it, he found an old photo of Mariana at a suspicious meeting with politicians and businessmen. Along with the photo was an anonymous letter. Everyone has secrets, Ricardo. Even those closest to you. Be careful who you trust. Shocked, Ricardo confronted Mariana that night. Ricardo, Mariana, what's this? I found this photo and a letter implying you're involved in something shady. I need to know the truth. Mariana, Ricardo, this is a setup. I don't know what this is about. They're trying to divide us. Ricardo, but why were you at that meeting? You never told me about it. Mariana, I was investigating, Ricardo, trying to find out more about Arthur's accomplices. You have to believe me. Ricardo, I want to believe you, but this is all so disturbing. I can't ignore the possibility that you're hiding something. Mariana, with tears in her eyes. Ricardo, we're in this together. I would never betray you. That's the truth. Ricardo, looking at the photo, I hope you're telling the truth, Mariana, because if I find out this letter is true, I don't know what I'll do. They stared at each other, the weight of distrust beginning to erode the foundation of their relationship. The fight for justice had been won, but the internal battle that now emerged promised to be the most devastating of all.